calls online. I've just asked a bus full of sleeping people if they'd seen The Strangers from 2008, and no one's responded. But I just think it's an important part of cinema, and if you've not seen it, you need to get to know, because the soundtrack is amazing, the sequel's even better, and they're doing a new trilogy, so like, get to know. The Strangers is where it's at, from 2008. It's a franchise, get used to it, babes. Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking about the Strangers universe, not just the single film, but the Strangers as a whole, and just kind of talk about what on earth is going on with this franchise, because it's an absolute mess. So let's just get into it right away and let's just start delving in deep. So grab a brew, get comfy, and whatever you do, don't answer the door, because it's probably not Tamar.
Is Tamara here?
My issue at the minute is they announced that they were making a new Strangers film, and then they announced that they were making a new Strangers trilogy. And to David Gordon Green it so fast was such a mistake. Did they not learn from Halloween Ends and Halloween Kills? Because yuck, absolutely yuck. The less I say about those films, the better. I just think you've killed the horse before it's left the station. That's not even a saying, but that's what they've done. The Strangers works on simplicity. Like, The Strangers is a simple film. It's a simple story. Look at the first film. There's 5 whole characters, 6 if you count the brother that gets his head shot off, but that's it, okay? And like, it's it's 2 people in one location. Like, bliss, easy cinema. And I mean, The Strangers already has a cult following, but I think that it could be more popular, and it should be. I think The Strangers should be up there with the greatest, like Halloween, because I think it did for horror what Halloween did for horror. And that's a bold statement, but I think Home Invasion as a whole is terrifying and keeps me up at night. The second I hear something drop downstairs, I'm like, well, this is it. There is a crackhead in my kitchen and I'm about to die. But no, on all seriousness, The Strangers works on being a simple through and through film, and that's what makes it so perfect. It doesn't rely on cheap jump scares. It doesn't rely on hideous gore. It is just straight to the point, brutal killing in the mix of a beautiful dance and a romantic love scene, which, in my opinion, I think The Strangers is like a romance film. I think it is a dramatic dance between the strangers and their victims. I think it's a ballad of love and passion. And that sounds weird to say, but that's just how I see it. I see it as like a really like romantic. But anyway, yeah, The Strangers works on simplistic. There isn't a lore, there isn't story. I think the only bit of backstory we get for The Strangers is when the baghead man is coming in and the song on the final player is playing, and it's I turned 21 in prison doing life without parole. I think that song is probably the only bit of backstory we get for The Strangers, and that's kind of all you need. That is all you need. You don't need lore. I don't want to know why they're doing it. I don't want to know who's behind the mask. It works because it's the randomness. I mean, look, the whole point of the movie is because you are home.
Why are you doing this to us? Because you were home.
There is no rhyme, no reason. These people just broke into your house, you happen to be home, and now you're dead. That is why The Strangers work so well. And then we jump to The Strangers Pray at Night. Now, I like to see, I don't know if anyone else is the same, I like to see The Strangers Pray at Night as a movie within a movie. So, for instance, if there was a film being made, Stab 3. So, Pray at Night is like Stab 3 to me. So, the events of The Strangers happened, and then they made a film about it, and the film was Pray at Night. So, if Liv Tyler survived in The Strangers, she could go to the cinema and watch Pray at Night. And I don't I don't watch The Strangers Prey at Night to scratch the strangers like itch I have on my brain. I'll just watch The Strangers. I watch The Prey at Night with some fun because I'm not going to stand here and shit talk The Strangers Prey at Night. That is not this video. If you think this was going to be this video, then you can click off right now because that's not what's about to happen. The Strangers 2 Prey at Night is an absolute masterpiece. It is fantastic. It's camp horror. The pool scene, and the pool scene, fantastic cinema, total eclipse of the heart. I came on at the pub the other night and I went around telling everyone, like, have you seen The Strangers 2 Prey at Night? This film was used. Like, anyway, I'm losing track because I just love that film so much. Anyway, but yeah, simplicity, nature, you don't need to do anything with it. And I just think, look back in time, look at the 17,000 Halloween movies you have made, and the more you go into this character, the less scary that Michael Myers becomes. So why on earth are we delving into the backstories of the strangers? Who the cares? Not me. I do not want a therapy session with Pin-Up Girl and Baghead. I just want them to swing an axe and then be done with it, you know? So now that there's a trilogy planned and the trailer was saying find out how the strangers became the strangers, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. And if you're going to do a trilogy, make it different. Make it completely different. Do what Prey at Night did, where no one was expecting that. It was the same, it was in the roots, but it was different. It was different, you know? And what did they do in The Strangers Chapter 1? Oh, they just made the same film. A poor remake of the same film. The only thing that made me cheer in that film was when they played the Span of Bean, if you know, you know. And that was the only little bit that was like, oh, clever. That's when I thought, maybe they do know this film, but then I watched the end of it and thought, oh, no, they don't. Because it's just cheap jump scares, like, cheap homages that were like, that's the type of shit I used to do in film school when I thought I was John Carpenter. And I really don't want to be negative because I love The Strangers, and of course I can't wait for the next 2 films. I just you should have just made a different film. You should have just not used this IP. Like, don't use The Strangers, use something else. Or if you were going to do it, go off with it, you know? So that's what I don't want to stand on. What I also don't want to stand is, where does this fit in the timeline? Is it a prequel, a sequel, a reboot, a remake? But then I'm hearing that it's in the same universe. But if it's in the same universe, then they all die in number 2. It doesn't make any sense. I really just think they really exploited us Stranger fans and got us to the cinema, and now we all felt dumb, because I felt dumb when I left, and all my friends that I'd gassed up to saying, oh, I'm going to watch The Strangers, I'm so excited. Oh, how was it? And I was like, I literally don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it, because it's everything that The Strangers did, they just did wrong. Like, there was too much gore. There was too much this, too much that. They couldn't even get the last scene right. They couldn't even use the original line, because you were home, because you're here. Just say the line, bitch. We all know what you want to say. Just say the line. And I really don't want to be negative. I really don't want to be negative, but I am being negative. But I think when you're comparing it to The Strangers and you're trying to be The Strangers and you're not, like, how dare you stand where he stood? A man that trusted you. And it really pisses me off. It really does. It really does. Because The Strangers is like... The Strangers is a solid 10 out of 10. And this movie is like a 2. And it only gets 2 points for The Sprout and the Bean. And it's just a mess. But we can get into that. So my problems with chapter 1 is the mythology, for starters. Why are we in a town called Venus? What is that about? Why are we setting up these random characters in a diner? Why are they all these red herons knocking about? This isn't a Scream movie. I don't want to know who done it. I don't want to know. But why are we hinting at it? Why? I'm getting frustrated. I'm getting frustrated already. Like, this is not what The Strangers is about. So why are we doing it? And if you want to do something fresh and new, that's absolutely fine. But do not try and mold it into something that it could never be. And we know what makes it work, so why would you do something that's not going to make it work? And then sign for 3 of them. I mean, I know why, the money, but it's annoying, it's upsetting, and it's gonna, like, water down what was once a great little solo flick with a big sister that was, you know, mean. I mean, the Riverdale girl, she is like, I will give her that. But yeah, I just feel like the two have no chemistry. They don't have that heartbroken, like, the whole thing is, oh, we've been married 5 years, no, we've been together 5 years, you haven't proposed to me, and then, like, that's meant to be the drama. It's like, no, in the original, like, he proposed to her and she said no, and they had to come back to their farmhouse, and everywhere's covered in the proposal that was gone wrong. There was still rose petals, there was, like, it's heartbreaking, and you can feel the tension in the room, like, you don't want to be in that room, but you're stuck with them, and then the strangers appear. Whereas this one, it's like, right, well, you're on a road trip, your car breaks down, you go to a creepy diner, you keep telling everyone that your girlfriend's a vegetarian. Why? No one cares. And also, why are you not a vegan? It's 2024. Like, no one's veggie anymore, babes. And yeah, it really misses the mark on that. The relationship between them isn't anywhere as deep as The Strangers is. And I don't feel that like at the end of the film, when, spoiler alert, like he gets his shit rocked and gets stabbed in the stomach, like, I don't feel like, oh no, you really loved him. Like, I don't feel that. Whereas in the original, it's like ow, like, I feel like my boyfriend just died. And I'm not even on to The Strangers yet. Like, I've already picked up so many negatives. I'm so sorry. If you love this film, I'm really happy for you. I wish I did. I'm jealous of you because I found it really hard to get into. I think I've been to see it 3 times now. First time was just, you know, it is a Stranger, oh my god, best film ever. And then the second time was to be like, let's look at the negatives. And then the third time was like, make a decision. And I've made my decision now. They've got a lot of work to do in these next 2 films. That's another thing that annoys me, is like, why do you need another 2? Why are you being greedy? What do you need that for? Yeah. So what I just want to know is, like, what are they trying to do here with the whole creepy boys on the bike, the diner? They're obviously trying to build this, like it feels like it's more than a homage, and they're trying to build some like weird town, like this is their thing. They do this a lot, because at the start of the film there's the guy that runs away, but it's like, again, did you watch the first film? This was not what that was about. But is it like a weird cult thing now, where it's like, oh, it all happens here, and they're all like, there's more than one strangers, there's like loads of them? But then it's like, what in the David Gordon Green are you doing? Why? Like, what is the fucking need? Why can't we just have a horror film that is a horror film because people are horrible in the world and they do horrible things? Why is there got to be a weird meaning behind it, or a weird occult thing, or because of this and because of that, and all the town are in on it, and it's like, well, why? Like, what is wrong with people just being fucking freaks? Honestly, the more I'm thinking about this now, like, the more upset I'm getting, and Anyway, we're going to lighten the mood today. So what I thought would be really fun is if we go through Letterboxd reviews of The Strangers, because that is hilarious. So we're going to read some out, and I'm going to put them up while I read them because it's hilarious. So let's go. Okay, starting up strong. Something tells me she didn't find Tamra. Brilliant. Brilliant. Love it. Everything that happens in this film is absolute karma for proposing at someone else's wedding. Come on. If you're at my wedding and I see you get down on one knee. Anyway, yeah, love it. Another one, I would simply pretend I was not home. Me too. My door goes, I'm not answering it. I'm not answering it. Some of us have social anxiety. Some of us are on propanol. I'm not answering the front door for you, babes. Absolutely not. I turned 21 in prison, doing life without parole. No one can see me right. The Strangers Chapter 1 has a 1.9 star rating on Letterboxd. You bitches are hateful. Hateful. I'm sorry, this video is going to be awful, but it's not my fault. It is Rennie Harling's fault, because he made The Strangers Chapter 1, and it was awful. It was awful. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. It probably wasn't very good, but we made it through. Yeah, don't forget to give me a little like, give me a comment on what film you want me to talk about next. Or don't, that's fine. But yeah, I'll probably see you in the next one, or I won't after this video was a flop. But anyway,